Okay, so let's start by talking about what informatics is. And informatics is a word that most people have never heard of. But despite that, there are actually entire schools that are dedicated just to informatics. Informatics will be helpful for you guys because it's everywhere and everybody uses informatics all the time. So informatics comes from the French word informatique, and basically informatics is when you take any kind of information and you add technology to it, which for most of us means computers, and it changes the information in some way. So think about when you log on to the WNEP app and you look for the school closing or the school delay. That is informatics, because back in the day, somebody from the school had to call every single set of parents and kids to tell them there was no school, or you just drive up to a closed building. Think about self-checkouts at the grocery store. That's informatics, because way back when my mother worked at a grocery store, she had to memorize the prices of every product in the grocery store and use a cash register that she punched in the numbers and then and pulled the big handle. It wasn't even a computer screen that showed you all of the products. We use informatics in class all the time. You being able to watch this and me being able to make this recording right now is informatics, because I'm using information and I'm using some kind of technology to present this information to you in a different way. If you've ever used a navigation system or GPS on your phone or in your car, if your car has remote start, all that stuff is informatics, because back in the day there was another way it was done that did not involve technology. So there are tons and tons and tons of kinds of different informatics, because every field has some kind of informatics, whether it's geology, education. So for education, you know, on a daily basis we're using projectors and speakers for you to be able to watch movies and things like that in the classroom. I have my little remote clicker that advances the slides, and I don't have to be stuck at the podium all the time. All of those things are informatics. So the word is a little scarier than the concept is. So if you still don't get it, and that's okay, think about any and everything you do in your everyday lives. Twitter, Facebook. I had to do a project for one of my classes because I'm actually taking a technology course at the moment, and it was called A Day in the Life, and for 24 hours I had to record all the different kinds of technologies I used, why I used it, and I couldn't believe how attached I am to my phone and my iPad, between getting emails, sending text messages, accessing my school stuff through the apps on my phone. It was ridiculous, and it's a project that I think I want everybody to do, but don't worry, I'm not going to make you do it. DNA is a huge thing now that we didn't have in the past. Think of how many people now in court, their fate is solidified because there's DNA evidence, or how many people have been exonerated or let out of prison because now the DNA evidence proves that they didn't commit a crime. You being able to go online and watch the radar of the snow coming potentially to give you a day off, that's informatics. All of that stuff is informatics. So why do you care? You care because informatics influences everything you do every day, and it becomes more and more influential in healthcare and in every other field as we progress and as technology progresses. I was watching something on Good Morning America where they were talking about the drones delivering the packages and things like that, and this woman said technology is moving faster than the laws that govern them, which I thought was awesome. Other ways informatics affects your lives. If you've ever worked with Excel and you put numbers into those cells and then turn them into pivot tables or pie charts, or if you've seen how Microsoft Excel has those formulas and you can plug stuff in, and Excel changes the data from numbers to pictures and things like that. All that is informatics. It's pretty cool that if you know the right kind of computer language, you could actually type in a Microsoft Word document and it can turn into a web page if you know the right kind of computer lingo. So it's all informatics, and it's stuff that we didn't have a really long time ago. So as I mentioned earlier, there are actually schools just being dedicated to informatics. So I'm getting my doctorate at Drexel, and Drexel has an entire informatics school within, so there's a school of education, a school of business. There's a school of informatics, which I thought was amazing. So usually people who pursue this kind of a degree, they're good at math, they're good at statistics, and those are different things, even though they might sound the same. And they're good at computers, I think, quite obviously. But even though technology and informatics is so great, there are some issues that pop up with informatics. And if we were in class face-to-face right now, I would be asking you what are some of the bad things that can happen when you integrate technology. So I'm not going to say anything for a couple seconds, and I'm hoping you're going to talk to the screen, and I'm going to pretend to hear you. So some bad things that can happen, hopefully you said some of these, are identity theft. Or, did you see the thing at Christmas where Target had that big issue where somebody hacked into the system? Anthem, Blue Cross, and Blue Shield, someone last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, in early February 2015, hacked into the system and got patient information, got employee records. You can have, I said, identity theft. Too much technology sometimes can just be a bad thing for the basics. We are so reliant on technology and on calculators that some people I run into cannot multiply or add or subtract without a calculator, because that's how reliant we've become on technology, and that's not necessarily a good thing. In the healthcare field, one of the biggest issues when it comes to integrating technology is HIPAA and protecting people's records. And HIPAA is something that we're going to talk about in a bit. Not today, but in a little bit. So, what this means for dental hygiene, and what this also means for nursing, is that you need to have a good working knowledge of basic computer terms to start with. So you need to know what file sharing is, you need to know what Boolean searches are, caches, that's what this word is down here. It is not catch or cache or whatever, it's cache. You need to be able to have this working computer knowledge to be able to talk to other people about what's happening in computers. So think about when Jack comes in and gives you your laptops and he starts talking about antivirus and spyware, and he starts saying AP addresses and things like that, and you don't understand what he's saying. Well, he's far more advanced, obviously, in computer terms, but you need to know basic computer terms to be able to relate to these other people and explain issues you're having and things like that. So that's the end of informatics as far as what it means for you. So now we're going to talk about how informatics actually applies to your everyday life as a clinical dental hygienist. So that's the end of that one. Say hi to the puppies. This was the old puppy, Kobe. He died. This is the new German Shepherd Bear, who's driving me crazy. Okay, so we're done with this one, and you can move on to the next recording.